Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And once again, we are blessed to have the best investor in my market of Fresno, California with us, Mr. Jason Pritchard. How you doing, sir?
I am doing great. Zuber, how are you?
I'm doing well. So you were gracious enough to give us a walkthrough video this week of a project that you have completed. I believe that is pending. And really at the tail end of that video, you talked about what you and your business are doing different, right? We've talked earlier about you getting a tighter buy box, about you staying below the median, but it sounds like you're even doing more as the market is changing. And I thought we should just have an honest discussion about what the best of the best is doing so that others might pick up from that. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say the premise of the video for what we're going to talk about today, guys, is now is not a time to be greedy. I think that's something that we're talking about with everybody on my team. Just a quick background on numbers on this specific deal that you're talking about, Zuber. We bought this one maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and it was just a great buy. We bought it for 114. We've got about 65,000 into the house, and there were a number of solid comps that supported a $330,000 resale value, right? And I felt like we were better than everything else that sold too. So we decided to list it at that price, right? And so there's a huge profit margin on this one. We're going to do really good on this deal, no matter what. 10 days into the listing, we received an offer for 310, and that was $20,000 below, right? And so we were just like, hey, you know what? I don't know that I want to take a $20,000 haircut. We went back and forth. We ended up negotiating a price of 315 and a 21-day escrow. So we said, hey, if we're going to take this haircut on the price, we want you guys to commit to close a little bit sooner. So then this way we're not holding it on our books. The buyer agreed. And the thought process with that is, I feel pretty confident that we could have held out on that and maybe got something for $5,000 or $10,000 more, right? And I just don't feel like it's the time to be greedy right now. I think right now we have to book our wins when we can get them. And we just have to be a little bit more conservative. And we were talking prior to getting on the call about just the importance of working through some of our existing inventory on our books, because the products that we bought now, the inventory that we have now, we priced out our projected resale values 30, 60, 90 days ago, right? And we were even expecting to hit kind of a downward moving target, but I don't think even I was expecting the market to cool kind of as much as it has even here, right? I think with the rate jump that we've recently seen, people are, rightfully so, they're nervous. And we just want to make sure we're not holding the bag on some of these things. So we're recycling through that inventory and being even more aggressive with our negotiations on the stuff that we're buying. So yeah, not time to be greedy right now.
Yeah, this is what the best of the best do, right? They pivot, they don't get greedy, they challenge their self. So earlier we talked about you being more focused so you don't add the wrong type of inventory, right? The last thing you probably want to be holding today is $1 million flip.
Sure.
Right. Fresno's medians call it 450. That's just a tough market. And when rates are 3, it's easy to get out. Rates at 7, not so much, right? So you already did that change. That change was like 60 days ago. But now you're into a market where, hey, we're buying below the median. We're buying great deals. But you know what? Rates at 7 make a difference. We're also heading into winter, right? Where people are slowing down, where there's talks of recession. And people are generally, when they're afraid, they pull back, right? Not many people are really excited about signing up for a 30-year mortgage when they're worried about their job, right? That's just not what's going on. So I think what you're telling us, and rightly so, is you have what most companies call work in process or inventory, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're no different than Walmart or Target, right? You have inventory, it's just not on a shelf. It's houses or whatever listed.
Yeah.
And now, as the guy at the top, you got to make some calls. And I think you're right. You take your wins, you book your wins so that if you have to take an L, you have it, right? You can just move money around and move forward. But it is about getting your inventory down, probably running leaner, I'm guessing, on future projects. Would you say that, or?
Absolutely, yes. And so like that project, guys, is an example of one where we just bought it great. And so we're booking a big profit margin regardless of whether we sold it at 315 or 330, right? But on the flip side of that coin, we've got a couple properties where we were expecting, maybe a $40,000, $45,000, $50,000 profit margin, right? And we're having to come down $15,000, $20,000 price reductions on those, because that stuff is stuff where I feel like if we wanted to hold out, we could, but it just now is not the time to hold out, guys, right? And so even if we even if we have to bring that down, and we won't take losses on any of that stuff, but we're not going to make $50,000 flips on, you know what I'm saying? And so I'd rather make 20,000 and just live to see another day and reposition ourselves for the new deals that we're looking at. Right. And so I think now is the time, like I said, I'm going to say it again. Now is not the time to be greedy about this stuff. We can't be caught with our pants down, especially at a time like this.
Yeah, and again, I want to be very clear. You're not stopping, right? There's nothing I see in
No.
Jason Pritchard that ever would say stop. And again, watch out for video number 3. It's going to be an exciting one. But I'm just going to guess, like the last 2 years, you were probably averaging 12 projects, 10 projects, give or take, all at one time. Is that reasonable?
Yeah. I'd say 12-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood is about
some near the end, some beginning, right? I'm going to guess come January, February, right? 3-4 months away, you're going to be averaging 5 or 6.
You know what I would say? And this was an interesting question that Jennifer and I went out to lunch the other day. And so she was asking me, we're at a point
Jennifer
right now.
is your amazing wife.
My wife, yes. And so we're at a point now where we have more projects on our books than we ever have. And I think it's a function of just natural growth. My team has expanded. Like this time last year, Zuber, it was me and 3 other people, and we've got 8 people on our team right now. Wow. So we've grown significantly, intentionally, right? Not by accident, but intentionally we've kind of grown. And right now we've got 20 active rehabs on our books. We've got 6 properties that are listed, and we've got 5 properties in escrow. So what's that number? 31 total. That's kind of how we track and manage everything internally.
So I want to make sure you have 6 completed, so listed,
like getting ready to sell. But that's to us still active inventory, because we're still financing the debt. We're still making sure, right? So it's not off our books until we actually get a closing statement from the sale.
So
right?
you've got 6 there. You have 21 in the make ready construction cleanup phase.
Yep.
And then you had what, 5?
5 in escrow. Yeah. That are either going to be. So it can be stuff that we're going to wholesale, stuff that we're going to buy. Those are 5 projects in escrow that we are determining exit strategy on, right?
So so you have 30, let's call it what it is. You got 31 pieces of inventory at different stages. I'm going to hope and guess that by January, February, you have something less than 15.
So yeah, I would say, and going back to the point that I was making about the conversation that Jen and I were having, she said, hey, she's been more involved in this business the last few weeks. So she's seeing more of all these moving pieces, right? And she's like, wow, we've got a lot of stuff going on. And so I think naturally her response and question was like, do you think you want to be flipping this many houses at the same time? And I said, what would be a better question to ask ourselves is, what would be a way that we could sustain or even increase this level of growth that would allow us to mitigate some of the risk that we have and not be overly leveraged financially or logistically or everything, where we're just redlining in all these other categories, right? Because I'm the kind of guy that, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to stop. I don't want to, you know what I mean? And so there's part of me that's like, I don't want to go down to 10 projects, but I also don't want to be flipping houses all over the state of California and really doing anything more than what we have now. This extra bandwidth that we've bought ourselves by growing the team, that has allowed us to kind of logistically handle all of this stuff. But I don't necessarily want to be doing any more than what we have now. But how do we do it in a way, and how do we grow in a way, either through strategic partnerships or maybe offering equity on deals to people that can bring money and bring contractors to the table, so we're not constantly spreading our resources thin? I think right now it's really important, Zuber, to start thinking creatively, right? I think right now it's very important to start thinking about the type of question you're asking ourselves, right? And is it, instead of just saying like, hey, let's just pull back, how do we get to where we want to go and do it in a way that's safe and responsible, right? And so that's what we're thinking about. I don't know what the answer is, but I know when I force myself to ask good questions like that, I think the creative juices start flowing in a way where we can find some other type of solution, right? So stay tuned, I guess, guys. When I come up with the answer to that question, I'll with you guys.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Again, this is just why your mindset is really a superpower of yours and a gift. Most people would hear me go through this 31 inventory and their natural reaction is, yeah, Zuber, I got to be down to 15 by January. It's scary, scary, scary. You're like, yeah, maybe that's one answer, but what if we just did it differently?
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, this guy's good, man.
And the other thing too, and I will tell you, I think the easiest fix right now, and we've been talking about this, is just doing less rehab. So keeping deal flow the same, but bringing our ratio from like actual closing rehab from like 80 to 20, like from that to wholesale. Right now, the wholesale is going to start coming up a little bit more because it's been proven we have a track record of we know how to source deals, right? So I think that's the biggest puzzle piece. Even in the market, the way that it is now, the person that can find the deal consistently is the one that has a lot of leverage, right? So if we can continue to source deals and do it at a way where we can negotiate that price to a point where other buyers will still take it and we can put a wholesale fee on it, I mean, that's a way where we can bring in revenue right now. So I think we are going to continue to do more of that. We're doing that now, right? But I also want to think creatively on how we can, you know, look at this puzzle from a different angle and try to solve it another way.
Yeah, I think kind of putting it on a new number basis, you know, in the real estate business, it's called days on market. I'm not really sure what would be like days of ownership or days of whatever your interest payments or days of interest. You're basically going to collapse that, right? With your 31 projects today, where you have a disproportion on flipping, your days of interest, you know, the average is 212 days. But you get to January and you do more wholesales than flip, your average days of interest are going to be 81 or something. But you're going to collapse that, which will allow you to keep moving forward. I think that's one way to de-risk it for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So what other exciting stuff going on? You see the team growing? You happy with the team at 8? You see it going to 10 or 12 next year? Or you
it's very interesting. So my team is set up in a way where 5 of our team members are virtual. They're based out of the Philippines. And then there's 3 people that are here local. And so you've had Morgan on your channel for a long time. We're actually kind of, I'm really trying to groom and position Morgan in a way where she can kind of step in and take over a lot of the leadership duties that I have within my existing team, because I really do want to get to a space where I can positively impact more people, do some of the stuff that you're doing, Zuber. And it's hard to do that when you're working in your business every single day, right? So I was always one that bootstrapped everything, right? I ran it all the way. How do we do this? And just, you know, work without just adding a bunch of overhead and payroll, right? And I think as I've matured as a business owner, you just get to a point where you can't flip 20 houses at the same time with 3 people. It's just not sustainable. It's not like, you know, like you can't do it.
Something is going to break.
Yes. Something is going to break when you're doing it that way. So I think this year has been a year of growth for us and just maturity. And so I think keeping the team where it's at, clearly defining a lot of people's roles, so everybody doesn't have to be wearing 3 or 4 different hats, right? And so people can really step into their lane and just become great at whatever their duty is. And then buying back more of my time so I can be more impactful with our community, you know, put on events, do coaching, do some of the things that we've talked about that I really have a passion for and a gift for. So I want to just do some of that, man. So that's where I think the future is for me.
Yeah, I look forward to you coming back every couple of weeks and just sharing the honest reality of what's going on. I'm going to love to watch you grow and mature. And I look forward to the day that you have even more time to give back, because I know how many people you're going to help. So Jason, where can people find you?
Social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook are the 2 easiest ways. I get a lot of messages from you guys on the channel asking about the different things that we're talking about. And I love giving back and helping you guys. So if you just message me there, I respond to all those DMs. Give me a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes a while for me to get back to them, but I'll always respond to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.